Chicago Stadium. June 5, 1996. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan rises above the defense. Surgical precision in every movement. 28 points, 7 assists. The Bulls dismantle Seattle by 19. The building erupts. His Ennis is operating at a level that seems almost cruel in its efficiency, but in the visitors' locker room. One man isn't bowing, isn't accepting the narrative, isn't intimidated. Gary Payton sits on a wooden bench, jaw clenched, fists tight. The best perimeter defender in basketball, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, has just watched Michael Jordan put on a clinic. And he wasn't even guarding him. Put me on him. 3 words. Spoken to his coach. Ignored. What happened over the next 2 weeks would become one of the most fascinating what-if stories in NBA Finals history. Not because of a missed shot or a controversial call, but because of a phone call. A phone call made by a furious point guard who refused to watch the greatest player of all time run free while he guarded someone else. This is the story of the 1996 NBA Finals. The story of a 70-win juggernaut facing a team that had waited 17 years to get back to basketball's biggest stage. The story of pride, stubbornness, and the moment when Gary Payton picked up a telephone and changed everything. The Bulls would win the championship. But the narrative, that was about to get complicated. To understand what happened in June of 1996, you have to understand who Gary Payton was. The glove, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-Defensive First Team. A point guard who took personal offense when opposing players scored on him. Not just competitive, obsessive. The kind of player who remembered every bucket, every crossover, every slight. And in 1996, he was at the absolute peak of his powers. Payton had just led Seattle to a 64-win season. He averaged 19.3 points, 7.5 assists, and nearly 2 steals per game. But the numbers don't capture what made him special. It was the pressure. The constant, suffocating, physical pressure that turned elite scorers into panic decision-makers. He didn't just defend you, he got into your mind, into your space, into your comfort zone until there was nowhere left to breathe. And yet, when the finals began, George Karl made a decision that stunned Payton and would haunt the series. Karl decided to have Payton guard Scottie Pippen, not Michael Jordan. Pippen. The reasoning wasn't entirely unreasonable. Payton was dealing with nagging calf and hamstring tightness throughout the playoffs. Karl worried about exhausting his point guard, about burning him out chasing Jordan through endless screens and isolations. Karl also wanted to keep Payton fresh offensively. Seattle needed his scoring and playmaking to have any chance against Chicago's suffocating defense. So the assignment went to Hersey Hawkins in Game 1. Then Nate McMillan. Role players tasked with slowing down a supernova, but there was another layer to this decision. A psychological one. George Karl was cautious, methodical. He believed in balance, in managing minutes, in not putting all his chips on a single defensive gamble. Payton was the opposite player who wanted the biggest challenge, the hardest assignment, the spotlight. He lived for those moments, and Karl said no before the series even started. Payton made his case. In practice, in film sessions, he told Karl directly, "I can guard him. I need to guard him." Karl's response was consistent. "I need you healthy. I need you running the offense." We had used team defense against Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. Payton didn't accept it. He couldn't. This was the moment he'd been building toward his entire career, the chance to prove he could lock down the greatest scorer in basketball history on the biggest stage. And his coach was telling him to guard someone else. The frustration simmered. Game 1 was approaching, and Gary Payton, never one to stay quiet, was about to watch his worst fears come true. Game 1. Chicago Stadium. The roar of the crowd is already deafening before tip-off. The Sonics come out aggressive. Shawn Kemp is a force early, attacking the rim with fury. But Chicago's defense adjusts, and the Bulls' offense run through the triangle. Orchestrated by Phil Jackson's genius begins to hum. And then there's Jordan, 28 points, 50% shooting. He's playing within the system, taking what the defense gives him. And what the defense is giving him is everything. Hersey Hawkins tries. He really does. But Jordan is reading him, manipulating him, creating space that shouldn't exist. Payton, meanwhile, is glued to Scottie Pippen. Pippen is brilliant in his own right, 21 points, making plays, keeping Seattle's defense honest. But Payton's assignment means he's watching Jordan operate from a distance. Helpless to intervene. Final score, Bulls 107, Sonics 90. After the game, the media asks about defensive matchups. Karl deflects. Jordan smiles politely in his press conference. And Gary Payton, in the visitors' locker room, sits quietly. Too quietly came 2 days later. United Center this time, Chicago's new palace, packed with 24,000 fans expecting coronation, not competition. Seattle fights harder. The game is tighter. Kemp and Payton both have strong offensive performances, but Jordan elevates 29 points, 11 rebounds. Clinical efficiency in the fourth quarter. Chicago pulls away late. Bulls 92, Sonics 88. The series is heading to Seattle 0-2, and the national narrative is already forming. This finals is over. The Sonics are outmatched. The 70-to-win Bulls are too good, too experienced, too locked in, but the numbers tell a deeper story. In games 1 and 2 combined, Michael Jordan shoots 50% from the field. He's averaging nearly 29 points. He's controlling tempo. He's dictating defensive rotations. And most importantly, he's comfortable. No one is making him work for anything. Hersey Hawkins gives maximum effort. So does Nate McMillan. But they're outmatched, and everyone in basketball knows it. Jordan isn't just beating the Sonics, he's styling on them. In the post-game interviews after Game 2, reporters pressed George Karl about the defensive assignments. Why isn't Payton on Jordan? Karl's answer is carefully constructed. Gary's doing a great job on Scotty. We need him to run our offense. We're using team defense on Michael. Team defense. The phrase rings hollow. Everyone watching can see it. The commentators mention it. Analysts question it. Former players shake their heads. And Gary Payton, the best perimeter defender in the world, is guarding Scottie Pippen while Michael Jordan cruises on the flight back to Seattle. The mood is dark. The Sonics are heading home down 0-2, facing elimination pressure in a finals they'd waited nearly 2 decades to reach. The window is closing. The Bulls are suffocating. And the one defensive weapon that might change the equation is sitting unused. Gary Payton stares out the airplane window, jaw set. He's thinking about the matchup, about what he could do, about what needs to happen, and he's done asking politely. Kai Arena, Seattle. The day between Game 2 and Game 3, the Sonics are back in their facility. The locker room is tense, players dressing, training staff moving between treatment tables, coaches reviewing tape inside offices. There's urgency in the air, but also something heavier. Doubt. The kind that creeps in when a series starts to slip away. Gary Payton walks in. No small talk, no jokes. He moves directly to the back of the locker room, where an old corded phone sits mounted on the wall near the equipment room. He picks up the receiver. He dials George Karl's office extension. It rings twice. Karl picks up. Yeah. Coach, it's GP. There's a pause. Karl knows this tone. He's heard it before in practice, in games, in film sessions when Payton disagrees with something. This isn't a casual call. What's up, Gary? Payton doesn't hesitate. His voice is measured but intense. The voice of a man who's been holding something back and can't anymore. I need to be on him. Karl sighs. He knows exactly who him is. Gary, we've talked about this. You're dealing with the hamstring. You're running the point. I need you. Payton cuts him off. Coach, listen to me. We're down 0-2. We're going home, about to get swept if nothing changes. I'm the defensive player of the year. I didn't win that award to guard Scottie Pippen in the finals. Silence on the other end. Payton continues. And now there's emotion bleeding through the controlled tone. Frustration, pride, desperation. I can guard Michael Jordan. I've been guarding the best scorers in this league my whole career. You've let me do it all season. Why are you taking that away from me now? When it matters most. Karl starts to respond. But Payton keeps going. We're not winning this series playing it safe. We're not winning it with team defense. You know that. I know that. Everyone watching knows that. He's comfortable out there. He's getting whatever he wants. And I'm standing there watching him. There's weight in those words. Real weight. Karl can hear it. Put me on him, coach. Game 3. Let me do what I do. If it doesn't work, you can take me off. But we can't go home without trying. We owe it to this team. We owe it to this city. Another pause. Longer this time. George Karl is thinking. He's a chess player, always thinking 3 moves ahead. He's conservative by nature, cautious about adjustments that might backfire. But he also knows Payton is right. The current plan isn't working. Jordan is eviscerating them. And more than that, he knows Gary Payton. Knows his pride, his competitiveness, his ability to rise in big moments. If Karl says no again, he risks losing Payton mentally, risks fracturing the locker room. Finally, Carl speaks. All right, one word. But it changes everything. You'll start on him in Game 3. But Gary, you've got to be smart. I can't have you in foul trouble. And you still have to run the offense. Can you do both? Payton's voice is immediate, certain. I can do both. All right. We'll make the adjustment. I'll let the staff know. Payton exhales. It's not relief, it's resolve. Thank you, coach. He hangs up the phone and stands there for a moment, hand still on the receiver. Around him, the locker room continues its rhythm, players talking, weights clanking, sneakers squeaking on the floor. But something has shifted. Gary Payton has his assignment. Game 3, Kai Arena, June 7th, 1996. The crowd is electric. Seattle fans know they're facing elimination pressure. They know the Bulls are overwhelming favorites. But there's something else in the air tonight: hope, defiance, the belief that maybe, just maybe, their team can claw back into this series. The starting lineups are announced. When the Sonics take the floor, there's a subtle but significant change in defensive positioning. Gary Payton lines up across from Michael Jordan. Jordan notices. Of course he does. He glances at Payton, then at the Sonics bench. A slight smile. This is what he wanted: the challenge, the competition. Jordan respects Payton, always has. But respect doesn't mean fear. The opening tip. Chicago wins possession. The ball swings around the perimeter, into Jordan's hands on the wing, and Gary Payton is already on him, not just close. Attached. His hand is on Jordan's hip, pressing into him, denying space before the ball even arrives. When Jordan catches it, Payton's forearm is there, subtle, just below the referee's line of sight, leveraging against Jordan's chest. Jordan tries to create separation with a jab step. Payton doesn't bite. He stays low, balanced, his feet moving in perfect sync. Jordan backs him down, testing his strength. Payton gives ground grudgingly, maintaining position. Jordan pump fakes. Payton doesn't leave his feet. Jordan spins baseline. Payton cuts off the angle, forcing him toward help defense. Jordan pulls up for a contested mid-range jumper. Miss. It's one possession. But it's different. Jordan felt resistance he hadn't felt in games 1 and 2, and it's only the beginning. Throughout Game 3, the physical battle intensifies. Payton's defensive technique is a masterclass in legal aggression. He uses his body like a tool, constant hip pressure to disrupt Jordan's rhythm, forearm leverage to make him work for every inch, precise footwork to cut off driving angles before they develop. But it's not just physical, it's mental. Gary Payton talks constantly. Trash talk is an art form for him, and tonight he's Picasso. You ain't getting nothing easy tonight, Mike. That's a tough shot, huh? Where you going? I'm right here. Jordan doesn't respond verbally, he never does. But Payton is watching his body language, his micro-expressions, looking for frustration, looking for adjustments, looking for any sign that the constant pressure is working. And it is. Jordan's shooting percentage drops noticeably. He's still Michael Jordan, he still gets his points, still makes plays, but the efficiency is gone. The comfort is gone. Every possession requires more energy, more effort, more creativity. In the first half, Jordan shoots just 5 for 12. He scores 15 points, but several come from the free throw line after Payton is whistled for aggressive contact. George Cole pulls Payton aside during a timeout. You've got 3 fouls. I need you on the floor. Payton nods, adjusts. He plays smarter, using positioning instead of reaching, angling Jordan into help defense instead of challenging him in isolation. Jordan adjusts too. He starts posting up more, using his strength advantage. He calls for more screens, trying to get Payton off him for even a second. He looks for backdoor cuts when Payton is ball dash. Watching .it becomes a chess match. Move and countermove, 2 of the best to ever play the game, locked in psychological and physical combat. Final score: Sonics 108, Bulls 86. Seattle's first win of the series. The crowd erupts. Shawn Kemp has 24 points. Detlef Schrempf contributes 16. But the story everyone is talking about after the game is the defensive matchup. Michael Jordan finishes with 26 points on 11 for 23 shooting. Still productive, still dangerous, but noticeably less efficient. More importantly, he looks bothered, frustrated. There's a tightness in his movements, a visible irritation with the constant physical contact. In the post-game press conference, reporters asked Jordan about Payton's defense. Jordan gives his signature answer: professional, measured. Gary's a great defender. He made it tough tonight. But we'll adjust. We've seen every defense there is, but there's something in his tone. A slight edge, Meanwhile, Gary Payton sits in the Sonics locker room, exhausted. His hamstring is tight. His body is screaming, but there's satisfaction in his eyes. "That's what I've been trying to tell you," he says to the media. "I can guard him. We can still win this." Game 4. Kai Arena. The Bulls are still up 2-1, but momentum has shifted. Gary Payton guards Michael Jordan from the opening tip. Same intensity, same pressure, same relentless physicality. Jordan adjusts his approach. He's more patient, letting the offense come to him. He's posting up smaller defenders when Payton switches off. He's hunting mismatches, but every time he faces Payton one-on-one, it's a battle. Seattle wins again. 107-86. Jordan scores 23 points on 10 for 25 shooting. The series is 2-2. Kai Arena is pandemonium. Shawn Kemp is playing like a man possessed. The Sonics role players are contributing, but the story remains the same. Gary Payton has changed the complexion of the series. Game 5. Back in Chicago. United Center is tense now. This isn't the coronation Bulls fans expected. The physicality ratchets up. The referees let them play. Payton continues to pressure Jordan relentlessly. And Jordan, frustrated, now starts forcing shots, trying to prove he can beat Payton instead of letting the game come to him. Seattle wins 89-78. Jordan scores 26 points but shoots 9 for 22 from the field. The series is 3-2. Chicago leads, but barely. One game away from elimination. But here's the brutal truth. The hole was too deep. Chicago's 3-0 lead means Seattle needs to win 3 straight games, the last one on the road. It's a mountain no team has ever climbed in finals history. Game 6. June 16, 1996. United Center. Phil Jackson makes adjustments. The Bulls run more action away from Payton, getting Jordan the ball in different spots. They post him up against smaller defenders when Payton switches. They use Pippen and Q-Cook more in the offense, taking pressure off Jordan, and Jordan never one to be stopped for long response. He scores 22 points. Not dominant by his standards, but efficient enough. More importantly, Dennis Rodman dominates the boards. Scottie Pippen makes clutch plays. The supporting cast carries Chicago when Jordan can't. Final score: Bulls 87, Sonics 75. Chicago wins the championship, their 4th in 6 years. Michael Jordan is Finals MVP. The Bulls' 70-win season is complete. But as the confetti falls and the Bulls celebrate, there's a conversation happening among fans and analysts that won't stop. What if Gary Payton had guarded Michael Jordan from Game 1? The numbers are undeniable. In Games 1 and 2, when Payton wasn't guarding Jordan, 28.5 points per game on 50% shooting. In Games 3 through 6, when Payton was guarding Jordan, 23.7 points per game on 41% shooting. Michael Jordan, the greatest scorer in basketball history, saw his efficiency drop by 9 percentage points when Gary Payton was assigned to him. Years later, when The Last Dance documentary examined the 1996 finals, the narrative was clear. The Bulls dominated. Jordan was brilliant. Chicago was inevitable. But even in that documentary, there's acknowledgement, a reluctant admission that Gary Payton made things difficult, that the series was closer than it should have been. Jordan himself, in interviews over the years, has given Payton credit carefully, in that Jordan way where respect is offered but dominance is never conceded. Gary was tough. He's one of the best defenders I ever faced. But we won. 3 words at the end. The ultimate rebuttal, but the debate persists. Basketball historians, analysts, and fans still argue about it. Not whether Chicago was the better team, they clearly were, but whether the outcome could have changed if George Karl had made the adjustment earlier. Would Seattle have stolen a game in Chicago with Payton on Jordan from the start? Would the confidence from an early series lead have changed the entire trajectory? We'll never know. What we do know is this: Gary Payton, in the biggest moment of his career, proved he could do what he'd been claiming all along. He could guard Michael Jordan. He could make the greatest player on earth uncomfortable. And it took a phone call, a moment of desperation and pride and competitive fury to make it happen. June 1996 ended with the Chicago Bulls as champions. As it should have. They were the better team, the more experienced team, the team with Michael Jordan in his prime and a supporting cast built for greatness. But the story of those finals isn't just about the Bulls' dominance. It's about the phone call Gary Payton made when his coach wouldn't listen. About the adjustment that came too late but changed everything anyway. About a defender who proved, if only for 4 games, that even Michael Jordan could be slowed down. One phone call didn't win a championship, but it did change history. It proved that greatness can be challenged, that even legends have vulnerabilities, and that sometimes the most important moment in a series isn't a shot or a play, it's a conversation. If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of basketball fan we create content for here at Legacy of Game 7. We don't do surface level highlights or hot takes. We go deep into the stories that shape the game we love. Hit that like button if this story gave you a new perspective on the 1996 finals. Subscribe to the channel because we've got more untold stories coming your way, and drop a comment answering this question. Do you think the Seattle Sonics could have won the 1996 finals if Gary Payton had guarded Michael Jordan from Game 1? I'll be reading your responses. Let's talk basketball. This is Legacy of Game 7. We'll see you in the next one, if you made it this far. You're exactly the kind of basketball fan we create content for here at Legacy of Game 7. We don't do surface level highlights or hot takes. We go deep into the stories that shape the game we love. Hit that like button if this story gave you a new perspective on the 1996 finals. Subscribe to the channel because we've got more untold stories coming your way, and drop a comment answering this question. Do you think the Seattle Sonics could have won the 1996 finals if Gary Payton had guarded Michael Jordan from Game 1? I'll be reading your responses. Let's talk basketball. This is Legacy of Game 7. We'll see you in the next one,